In this video, I'm going to review the movie Smile. Spoiler warning, I'm going to spoil all the details of this movie. What is this movie about? Well, we have a summary from IMDb, which says, after witnessing a bizarre, traumatic incident involving a patient, Dr. Rose Cotter starts experiencing frightening occurrences that she can't explain. Rose must confront her troubling past in order to survive and escape her horrifying new reality. Now, I am a lover of movies, as evidenced by the fact that I'm making all these movie reviews. But one of the genres of movie that I have not really watched that much of is horror movies. I don't know why. I don't think I've seen most of the really good ones, and so I just never felt drawn to them. But I heard that this was a good one, and I had a friend in town that also wanted to really see it. I've been wanting to watch horror movies more lately, and so I thought, hey, this seems like a really good one to watch. So what did I like about the movie? Well, I have to say that this movie was genuinely entertaining and suspenseful. I was really engaged and on the edge of my seat the entire time. There was not a dull moment. It's very trippy and disorienting, and I think that the tension element of it is really played up well. I especially like how towards maybe the last act of the movie, it starts to turn into this little detective story where the doctor character is trying to find out how to stop this thing from passing from person to person. Like, she gets her former cop boyfriend to help, and then she goes to talk to all these other people. I thought that was pretty thrilling to watch. But I have to say that my favorite part of the movie was the commentary that they started to put in there around trauma and how it affects people. I think it's a really good metaphor for how trauma just impacts your life and colors everything that you see, and how it can be passed from person to person, how others may not really see or understand what you're going through and might think you're crazy. Trauma is a thing that gets talked about a lot today, especially when you have things like COVID and racism and some of these like everyday traumas that people experience. So I found this idea pretty compelling, and it did make me think. All right, so maybe just a couple of thoughts on what I would change about the movie. And the thing I would change is actually related to what I was just now talking about, which is the commentary that this movie, I think, is trying to make around trauma. Again, when I realized that this was what the movie was doing, at least in my head, I started to think to myself, man, this could be a really good movie that transcends like other horror movies and really has something meaningful to say. You have that scene where she's trying to go to this house to be alone and really face her fears and face her history. In my mind, I'm like, oh man, she's gonna go and face it. She's gonna finally overcome this trauma, the trauma of her mom dying. And I started getting emotional. I was like, wow, I think this is gonna be a really powerful movie. But then what they do at the end is they basically have her not overcome it. It's like you think she overcomes it, and then in the next scene, she's with her cop former boyfriend, and you realize that, oh, this has all been fake. You can't get rid of that. And so if the movie is a metaphor around trauma and how to get over it, the movie is basically saying, actually, you can't ever get over trauma. Which, I don't know if that's true or not. I hope it's not. I don't think it's true, but that seems to be what the movie is saying, if that is what they're trying to say. And I just didn't really like that as much. Like, it felt like right at the end of the movie, it was like, actually, we need to be a silly, classic horror movie. We're not gonna let ourselves transcend to this next level. We are going to stay at the level of a normal horror movie. So of course, at the end, she needs to get taken over by the demon herself, and the cycle needs to perpetuate. So what's the change I would make? Basically, I would just consider an alternative ending where she actually won over that trauma demon. I personally think that could have been a lot more powerful, but maybe I'm just taking this movie too seriously. At the end of the day, it is just a horror movie. All right, so what did I think about the movie overall? Well, as I said, I enjoyed it. It was definitely better than I expected. And so for that reason, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 star rating. It would have gotten a 5 from me if it really leaned in and said something meaningful about getting over trauma, but I don't think it quite made it there. I do have to say that this movie was good enough for me to want to go and watch some other horror movies. So if you saw Smile and have any thoughts on the movie, or if you just have any recommendations for other horror movies that I should watch, please write that in the comments below. As always, if you like this video, hit the like button, which will help others find it, and subscribe for more. Peace.